Oh, it's recording. Ow. I'll edit some of this out. Okay. Hi, my name is Madison Tate, and I'll be presenting on how wood grows. Some information you need to know about how wood grows is how important trees are to our environment and ecosystems. Some objectives I want to cover in this topic today is on learning how wood grows, especially within the secondary growth phase, and also how we can understand wood growth simply by the anatomy of wood. And wood goes through two phases in the growth process, which is called primary and secondary growth. Primary produces all the plant's body, and secondary increases the plant's diameter by the activity of dividing cells. And these divided cells go into two cylinders, which are called vascular and cork cambium. Vascular cambium is located between the primary xylem and the primary phylum. They are made up of thin cylinder of mermestem cells. These mermestem cells are what make up the vascular cambium. The main function of vascular cambium is the production of secondary growth. Cork cambium is located between the secondary phylum and cork. Cork is also produced within this cambium. Stem thickens, causes cracks in bark. Now, when the stem thickens during secondary growth, cork and cork cambium are pushed together, and this what causes the bark to crack. Secondary growth is involved in most of the growing process. According to the graph, you can see the year 2, late summer, is thicker than both of the year 1s. And this is caused by how during secondary growth, it adds on 2 layers on both sides of the vascular cambium. This is how the stem gets its width. And it is growing season within spring, and 2 products are also produced during secondary growth, which is secondary xylem and phylum. The products of secondary growth are xylem and phylum. Secondary xylem is interior tissue, and this is the wood portion of the plant. And what comes along with the wood portion is annual rings. And this is how we can tell the age of the tree. Some evidence of global climate change is the comparison of old wood patterns compared to the ones today. And the reason why these rings are visible is the unevenness that takes place throughout the growing season or just the year in general. And this is also, secondary xylem is also where the wood gets its strength and hardness. The secondary phylum is an exterior tissue located within the bark. And like the previous side, how secondary growth adds on layers to the vascular cambium, which causes the cork and the cork cambium to push together and exclude or make the bark crack. This also has some play into it. Secondary phylum, cork cambium, and cork also shed off because they are part of the bark. When the bark cracks, it sheds off its old layer, and during secondary phylum, it produces a new layer of bark. Cork cambium forms from these parenchyma cells, and this is where that new cork is created. And secondary phylum's main function is sugar transport. Some important factors that go into play with wood growth is bark, wood rays, and heartwood. Bark protects the stem. Even though it's constantly shed off, there's always a new one being regenerated from the secondary phylum. So it's always protected the stem. It's constantly protecting it. Wood rays has a lot of functions. It transports water and nutrients, stores organic nutrients, and aids in wood repair. Just like our bodies, we need food and nutrients to function, to grow, and this is kind of what wood ray does. It's a constant giving of nutrients and water for the plant to grow. Heartwood, like you can see in the diagram, it is the center of the trunk, and there are old layers of secondary xylem in them. These old layers cannot transport water anymore. Therefore, this is how it gets its wood resistance to rotting. All the cells are clogged with resins and other compounds. This is how the wood is resistant to rotting. Thank you so much for listening to How Wood Grows, and I hope you learned something from this PowerPoint. Thank you so much. Okay, cut it here. I'm gonna edit this out. Okay, because that was good. I think my dad's here. Okay, that was cool. I'm still recording. Cool. What is this?